Autistic people struggle with social skills.
Oh yeah? And I heard they also lack empathy.
What if I told you that autistic people actually have some of the most underrated, overlooked, and misunderstood social strengths out there? And what if I also told you that some of these secret social skills are so good, people don't even realize they're social skills at all? Today, we're breaking down 10 powerful and often invisible autistic social strengths that deserve way more credit. Let's go. Deep listening instead of small talk. Most autistic people aren't here for surface level chit chat. Today's weather? No thanks. Your thoughts on how unpredictable weather patterns might lead to shifts in solar polar grids? Now we're talking. We usually want to skip the fluff and dive into the good stuff. It's not that we can't do small talk, it's that it often feels pointless. It's like reading the entire terms and conditions one word at a time just to get to the part where you click, I agree. But when you need someone to really listen, to really consider what you're saying, remember the details, and generally not judge you, that's where many autistic individuals shine. So a lot of autistic people often go deep, way beyond what's on the surface, and that's a powerful kind of connection. Pattern recognition and social dynamics. We may not always know what someone meant when they said,
Fine.
but we'll absolutely notice that their tone shifted 3 conversations ago. Autistic brains are often really good at spotting patterns, and that includes emotional and social ones. We might not always be able to explain it in real time, or even be able to name what's happening to the other person, but we're tracking things. Vibes, inconsistencies, sudden energy changes. Sometimes we notice things before you do, like,
Hey, you ever notice that Dookie gets really intense whenever you bring up your mom? No. But now that you mention it, I could really go for a corn dog.
we may not fully understand the rules or the why when social dynamics change, but we can spot the difference fast. Loyalty and integrity in relationships. When an autistic person says you're their friend, you're in. There's no half in, half out. We're not great at faking things, and we're usually not interested in drama or volatile relationships. So if we choose to invest our time and limited social energy in you, it's because we mean it. This often shows up as ride or die loyalty, and sometimes it can be intense to other people. But if you want someone who will research your weird toe pain at 2 a.m. because you mentioned it once, and now it's in our brain forever, or someone who will pick up a really personalized gift on our trip to Germany just because you mentioned years ago you and your mom's special connection with nutcrackers. Because autistic people often also have great memories for specific things that matter to us. So if you matter to us, we're all in. Literal communication as a strength. Autistic people tend to say what they mean. No double meanings, no passive aggressive hints, just,
Hey, that hurt my feelings.
or,
I need some space.
and yet people still interpret that as rude. Why? Because it's not wrapped in 5 layers of politeness and a smile emoji. But here's the thing, honest, literal communication cuts through confusion. You don't have to guess what we meant, it's right there. So being clear and concise is kind. And usually once we know you understand that, we appreciate you doing the same. Less words can often mean less confusing, and that's just what many autistic people need. We have our own way of showing engagement. Here's where it gets tricky. A lot of our social strengths go unnoticed because we don't present them in autistic or non-autistic ways. We might not hold eye contact or mirror your body language or pepper our speech with every 5 seconds. But that doesn't mean we're not engaged. Honestly, we're probably concentrating even harder than most on what you're saying, how it fits into what we know about you, what it means for your emotional state. We're just doing it with a neutral face and maybe less eye contact, but we're listening intensely. It just looks a little bit different than you might have been taught connection and listening looks, but that doesn't mean it's not real. We have a strong internal code for fairness and loyalty. Many autistic people operate from a deep sense of what's right and wrong, not based on popularity or politics or who's in the room, but based on our own moral code. Fairness is really important to us. That shows up socially more than people realize. If the treatment of someone seems unfair, we notice. If someone says one thing and does another, we notice. And if we care about you, we are loyal. Not out of obligation, not because you're there, but because you're our person and we are loyal to you. This doesn't always play well in social systems that run on gray areas and mixed signals or social hierarchies, but it's one of the clearest, most dependable social strengths we bring. We adapt by studying social systems. Because many of us grew up feeling like outsiders socially, we often became observers. We study how people interact. We build mental maps of social patterns, and we figure out how to move through the world in a way that makes sense to us. This might include scripting, copying behaviors, or collecting rules that others take for granted. It's not always graceful, but it's highly adaptive. We learn the system by watching it closely, so we might not always get why things work a certain way. And we might not agree with it, especially because of our sense of fairness, but we can often see how it works. And we might understand these systems pretty well, even if we struggle to conform to them, or we just don't conform to them because we don't agree with them. Authentic and real. We can sometimes fake it till we make it, but we don't like to. Faking it often makes us feel horrible later, possibly with stomach issues, which is horrible, and will probably lead to a few trips to the bathroom, which is also horrible. Authenticity, in my opinion, is one of the most underappreciated social skills out there, and autistic people tend to have it in abundance. When we say something, we mean it. No guessing at whether it's our honest opinion. If we feel we're safe giving you honest feedback because we trust you, then it will be sincere and authentic, and usually it'll cut right to the chase. Now, the flip side, sometimes honest can be direct and blunt. Not everyone is ready for that. That's okay too. And sure, autistic people can sugarcoat things too, but naturally, being our authentic selves often doesn't involve the fluff. And if you listen to the message rather than only focusing on the delivery, you'll get authentic and real. Also, we're authentic about our interest. If we want to tell you about our own interest, we're all in. You'll know because we have a lot of passion. But also when we're listening, we're really focused if we care about the topic or who's doing the talking, which I'll talk about more in number 10. Creating low pressure social space. If you're autistic, here's something I bet you've done. Invited someone to hang out with the understanding that no one has to talk the whole time. And no one has to overplan activities to keep you occupied. Maybe you'll do a shared activity, or maybe you won't, and you'll do parallel activities. Maybe it's just sitting in the same room, doing your own things, but enjoying each other's presence. That's autistic social safety. And for me, that's the ultimate low pressure social situation. An environment where people can just exist. No pressure, no performance, no forced smiles, no overload of noise. Low pressure connection that doesn't demand anything from anyone except understanding of just how low key it really is. Choosing quality over quantity. We might not have 100 casual friends, but we usually have a few real ones, and that's more than enough. Socializing takes energy, and autistic people often learn early on to spend that energy wisely. That means choosing our buddies, our safe people who we could probably spend all our time around, and it usually means fewer of them. So other people might have a big group of people to hang out with, and that's okay. But we're usually going to be with the same friends, on repeat, every day if we had it our way. It also goes toward the deeper nature of how we do things. We don't really spend time making surface level bonds. We go all in, and that includes our friendships. We might make new ones here and there, but quality is always key. So if you're in, you're in. And by in, I mean the inner, top tier VIP circle. Probably should have toned that one down a bit. So the next time someone says,
But I thought autistic people don't have social skills.
you can say, actually, we do. And they're awesome. You just might need to get to know us before you can actually see them.
let's redefine what social skills really means together.
I don't know who Doogie is, but it's the name that came out. So Doogie. Doogie. D-O-G-G-I-E. Doggy. D-O-O-O-G-I-E. 3 O's. Doogie.